The internet was a mistake. We have officially broken bad. Recently, a married mother of 3 young children was grappling with postpartum psychosis. Not just depression, but psychosis. She was committed to a psych ward for a brief stay, but she lied her way out of it and made her way back home.
Whoa, a lady checked into a hospital for psychosis? Told lies? Hey, Spencer Pratt, did you train that staff? I don't really weigh in on this Lindsey Clancy case. It is what it is. But I notice all these guys commenting on it never look at the case. And Spencer Pratt has never looked at this case, and it shows. So it wasn't that cut and dry. And frankly, the psych staff, they should be used to getting lied to by the patients who are psychotic.
When her husband left the house to go get food, she took her 3 young babies into the basement, lined them up, and one by one, wrapped an exercise band around their neck and strangled them to death.
Amazing that a reality TV star does a dramatic retelling of a case he really hasn't looked into. He's got little graphics, he's got music, it evokes your sympathy. He's telling his own version he wants you to understand. He doesn't really want to show you the testimony. Okay, I don't understand the drama over this case, really. It came across my radar a few weeks ago because a bunch of neocon losers were attaching it to Candace Owens. And I really didn't get it, but it's like a club they use to attack her. Let's see what this clown does.
Now, strangulation is very difficult, even with a toddler. It takes a lot of force and a lot of time. It's a very intimate way to kill somebody.
Those Hollywood parties are getting out of control, aren't they, Spencer? Can someone please explain to me how Spencer has all of this strangulation experience?
Which is probably why she turned the kids face down as she did it. She didn't have to watch the life drain out of their panicked eyes as she choked them out. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to choke a toddler to death.
Spoken with the confidence of experience. At least it sounds like it to me.
So the third child had to stand there and watch their siblings die for about 10 minutes before it was their turn.
Dude, you just said she made him lay face down. Now you're saying they had to stand there and watch? Can you please be consistent in your cinematically filmed, grotesquely overproduced rant?
After Mama had finished killing all of her kids, she promptly went upstairs, slashed her own wrist, jumped out the second floor window to off herself. Well, the snow outside cushioned her fall, the cold slowed her vitals, so she merely fractured her spine, paralyzing her, but she ultimately survived. When her husband came home with dinner, he called out for the kids and his wife. Nobody answered. He went upstairs thinking maybe she was bathing the kids. When he got to the bedroom, he saw blood splattered everywhere and the window wide open. To his horror, he saw his wife on the ground outside paralyzed. He asked where the kids were, and his heart sank when she murmured, "In the basement."
Transcripts of the 911 call show she never said that. She never talked to him. She never spoke. There is no audio of Lindsey Clancy on the 911 call speaking. She never told him in the basement, according to the 911 call audio and transcripts. This seems to be untrue.
He was on the phone with 911 when he discovered his dead babies.
This case is immensely tragic, but this is a pretty gross, one-sided retelling of the whole thing. It doesn't comfort any of us what happened to those children, but he's pushing something here, and it's pretty disgusting. Just keep watching his video and you'll see what he does.
So there's a recording of his screams as he turned over his dead children, seeing their blue faces and their eyeballs nearly bursting from the sockets.
There is no eyeballs bursting from sockets. This is not the testimony. This is Hollywood crap. He's adding that for flavor.
The man naturally moved far away in a desperate attempt to reset his life somehow, and his wife is on trial for murder. And women on TikTok are supporting her. Go ahead, look around if you dare. You will see hundreds of psychotic women supporting Lindsey Clancy, blaming the husband.
All right, he did it. Patrick did it.
Bam, there you go. He went from a girl saying the husband did it to an image of Candace Owens because this guy is a neocon, going to use this case to club Candace Owens, but he's just more theatrical about it. Are you starting to wonder why he lost his election?
Lindsey Clancy is obviously not guilty.
I watched this clip live when Candace said this. And she said Lindsey Clancy's not guilty. She's a victim of our terrible pharmaceutical industry. She didn't lay blame at the feet of the husband, though. She has nothing to do with these women that Spencer Pratt put in here. And Spencer Pratt knows this. Spencer Pratt is gaslighting you. He's lying. He's a gaslighting a-hole. He's a gas hole.
He did it. He did it.
Patrick's the one who did it. Not Lindsey. Patrick did it.
Lindsey Clancy's birth chart. Just following all their birth charts and birthdays and zodiac signs.
I've already gone over the forensic astrology charts that show that the perpetrator is a male.
Women typically don't strangle.
I'm telling you all right now, when the South Node goes into Cancer,
He's a Gemini man.
They poison or drown them.
I cannot wait for this man to be humbled and for karma to do its thing.
Donald Trump.
Because, of course, in this dystopian social media era...
You mean it's a dystopian social media era because we're all tracked, shadow banned, our algorithms are messed with, people get unsubscribed from us, surveillance everywhere, flock, Axon, you name it. Is that the dystopian era you're talking about?
everything is a conspiracy. Nothing is real.
I think this has to do with decades of abuse by different law enforcement agencies. They put people in prison innocently, like Sirhan. They've lied to us about cases. That bomber case was crazy. They had feds in our different public events, like the J6 event. A bunch of feds were in there. What is that? Sows distrust. Those are conspiracies against us. And this cinematic, angelic light image, it looks dumb.
Bad things don't happen. Every real story is just Fed slop.
No, every real story is not Fed slop. Every real story is called a conspiracy theory, and the garbage the government feeds us is Fed slop. That's why it's Fed slop, dude. You just want it to be true in your little heart, your little cartoon brain. But it's Fed slop because it sucks. Like when Officer Bagley goes on the roof and finds a screwdriver. Oh, my body cam goes out. They survive, shootouts and car chases and car crashes and people grappling me and dogs. But today it was just too much climbing up that ladder. People like you are okay with that because you're a bootlicker.
The real story is some convoluted, nefarious plot by the Jews.
What? That's so crazy.
What a gasshole. It's laughable he says this here. He just had a picture up of a tweet of Fed slop in a Tyler Robinson comment. In the Tyler Robinson trial, the digital evidence, the texts that are so controversial, Celebrite extracted that to, prove they're Tyler Robinsons. Well, what's Celebrite? It's Mossad agents. So he's literally proving what he's trying to make fun of. And bootlickers like him are okay with the Mossad agents running our evidence, holding our evidence. In this very case, this is true, sorry. Celebrate hired Mossad agents. They've never hit it. And you're okay with it because you're not really an American.
Whatever the opposite of Occam's razor is, that's TikTok. We have lost our damn minds. I really think that COVID fried people's brains and that they've simply never recovered. We were gaslit to hell, of course.
Yeah, we were told a bunch of lies. It was all Fed slop.
Dr. Tony Fauci, funded the development of the virus. He lied about the lab leak.
So it came from a wet market in the same place where there's this huge lab that does all the kind of development of exactly what this thing is. That's some coincidence.
They lied about the threat to kids. They locked everyone down.
I wear a mask to school. I wear a mask to school.
It was like some horrendous globalized Stanford prison experiment.
Does Spencer Pratt mean the Stanford experiment that Brigitte Macron was part of? Allegedly.
Our institutions completely eviscerated their own reputation and dignity. Gavin Newsom locked us down and then had a fancy dinner with friends at the French Laundry. The science told us that if you went paddleboarding alone in the middle of the ocean, you needed to be arrested for killing grandma. But of course, if you riot with 500,000 people, that's totally fine because viruses take a time out when it comes to social justice. Our institutions so thoroughly destroyed any semblance of credibility that they ever had, and frankly, they don't deserve that trust anymore. But we've devolved into a buffoonish, low-trust society where now people see conspiracy and malice in literally every corner of human life.
Well, he was on a roll for a minute with the COVID stuff. Yes, it was all endorsed by the federal government. It was complete Fed slop. And now he turns around and says we're low-trust buffoons. Which of the lying agencies that have hurt our own people should we trust now, Spencer? I think I see why you lost the election.
Nothing is real, but everything is real.
Nothing is real, but everything is real. Oh, look what I did there. What a knee slapper. Hey, Spencer, are you man enough to admit that you like the Mossad handling our evidence and our federal agencies' digital evidence through Celebrite? Are you man enough to admit you love having Unit 8200 Mossad agents handle that for Americans? Just be man enough to admit that. It's okay to be a bootlicker. First step is admitting you don't have a problem licking the boots.
But beyond that is something darker. It's not just that we've allowed ourselves to believe the craziest things. It's not that we've just jettisoned our critical thought. We've lost our humanity. Look at the animals who people are now celebrating openly. Luigi Mangione shot a healthcare CEO in the back and communists celebrated him. Women openly gushed over him and still do. Even as he's pled guilty, they still simp for him. Now I know women have always been crazy.
Look at that. That's why you can't respect this gasshole. Everyone knows this isn't Candace Owens. You can listen to her for 5 minutes. She's not in love with Tyler Robinson. She thinks he may have had something to do with Charlie's death. But Spencer Pratt thinks you're stupid. Not to mention he says all women are crazy. Maybe that's why he lost his election.
Now I know women have always been crazy. All famous murderers get love letters in prison, so it's not exactly a new phenomenon. But we can have a discussion about daddy issues another time.
I think your dad was William Shatner, and he's disappointed. So there.
That's not what this is. This is something more sinister. What explains the outpouring of love for the mom who strangled her kids? Why are people trying so hard to exonerate her? When some criminal migrant masturbates in front of children at a public beach, the dads rightfully beat the shit out of him. But a woman suffering with suicidal empathy intervenes to protect and comfort that child sex offender?
Again, he has no idea what he's talking about. First of all, this lady may not have known that guy was touching himself. She just sees dudes beating him up. So this would make sense. Second of all, if the dudes were beating him up and wanted to keep beating him up, the 125-pound woman isn't going to stop them. Third, the woman may have thought, all right, you guys got your licks in. Let's not kill him in front of everyone here on the beach. You know, there might be kids around and stuff. You don't want that. He isn't going to be all eyeballs and teeth after he's winking a few times. You beat him up, you call the police, you send him away. But Spencer, I guess he would strangle him with his amazing experience he referred to us. I don't know.
You see an invasion of Spain, you see a woke woman gleefully waving the invaders in. Is this what matriarchy looks like? Where this kind of suicidal empathy that exploits the noble virtue of unconditional maternal compassion and perverts it towards the criminal dregs of society? All because wokeness now supersedes all normal virtue? We've heard that expression, it's a face that only a mother can love. I know I always heard it. We all know that unconditional maternal love, that superpower that God imbued into our mothers to make sure they loved us, irrationally loved us, so they didn't toss us into the damn river as babies when we're crying all night long for months on end. Their maternal love must supersede all reason and normal emotion in order to make sure that they can even make it through.
Spencer Pratt is this stupid. After that amazing description of motherhood, it is still lost on him why so many women support Lindsey Clancy because they don't think she would have been capable of either doing it or planning it in her right mind.
But now that irrational love isn't pointed at our own vulnerable children. It's been reallocated towards whatever group the algorithm has designated as the vulnerable class. Criminal migrants, drug addicts on the street, any and all of the worst cretins of the planet get full feminine favor and protection as long as they're not the ultimate Satan, the white male.
Okay, this gasshole goes too far. Why is he calling Pat Tillman the white male Satan? I don't even think liberals hate Pat Tillman. I think Pat Tillman was a liberal. Pat Tillman, as we're told, died from friendly fire in a tragic mistake. That's what we're told. Pat Tillman's an American hero, and I don't understand why this gasshole is using him here. Also, he complains about women, ruining all this stuff, and that's a different subject. But haven't we had all dude presidents? Where's all the men leaders that run things? They could stop this stuff. They don't. I think it's because men, especially men like Spencer Pratt, they're actually becoming women.
Hijacking of the maternal instinct didn't start with social media. It goes way back to 1995 when she watched Dead Man Walking as a teenager. When that film planted a seed that vile criminals deserve her heartfelt tears.
Don't execute this man. You can stop this from happening, sir.
Then Dexter injected it with steroids. This is the prolonged conditioning that accelerated with the ascendance of the Byronic hero. We got so cute with finding redeeming qualities in irredeemable villains. Gone are the days of the true bad guy.
Personally, I think it started out with that Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West book that they based Wicked on. This guy's a Hollywood idiot, so he goes with Dead Man Walking. Frankly, I think a Catholic nun fighting for life is just a standard Catholic thing. I don't think Dead Man Walking was a nefarious message at all. The guy died. He was executed for what he did. Him saying gone are the days of the true bad guy, well, that was my contention with Wicked. It's the Wicked Witch. But that's like a simple children's story. It had some pretty awesome political play in it. If you ever look at the L. Frank Baums, do a deep dive on Wizard of Oz. It's pretty cool. He has a cartoonish mind. He's talking about he wants a children's version of good and evil to be for adults.
Now, the cinematic vanguard is in love with finding the humanity in the bad guy, telling the sympathetic origin story. Our parents had superheroes. We have anti-heroes.
You're goddamn right.
Breaking Bad was so brilliant, but it made us cheer on a narcissistic, murderous, criminal drug kingpin who destroyed his family over money. When Tim Burton did Batman, the Joker was a lunatic. But now the Joker gets his own movie where he's the hero, and the climax of the film is him murdering the orderlies at the asylum.
While Breaking Bad was entertaining, I didn't cheer on Walter White. I kind of liked Hank. I grew up in organized crime. I understand that world and how conflicting it can be. But plenty of other people who didn't grow up in organized crime, who grew up normal, also weren't cheering on Walter White. As far as the DC universe goes with Joker and Arkham Asylum is the most abusive mental hospital. The whole point of Arkham Asylum is it's so terrible you don't want to be there. It's so abusive. So to the fans, it's not really controversial that violence erupts at Arkham Asylum. But hey, if you're a boot-looking Fed slapper, you're going to cheer on Arkham Asylum.
The arts dog-walked us here over decades with films and television that inverted the paradigm of normal virtue. Cops are the bad guys, outlaws are the heroes, and man, do you see that manifesting in reality today.
I'm going to play that segment again so fans of Spencer Pratt can understand it. But he just admitted cops are the bad guys, outlaws are the hero, and this has manifested itself into reality. I mean, he said that. The guy, he kind of doesn't know what he's saying. He's reading the script. He's a good actor.
With films and television that inverted the paradigm of normal virtue. Cops are the bad guys, outlaws are the heroes, and man, do you see that manifesting in reality today.
Yeah, he says that's how it is. Cops are bad guys, outlaws are heroes. I mean, he meant to say the opposite, but this is what we got for candidates now, so you wonder why they lose.
Scrolling through Mommy Sleuth TikTok is an exercise in pure insanity. Whatever this woke social media blob has done to the modern mind, it's gone far beyond internet sleuthing, and it's spawned an entire generation of hollow-out, depraved crazies. What about all the goblins celebrating the communists who shot Charlie Kirk? You have insane influencers making a fortune off shamelessly exploiting his death, tying themselves in knots with the most convoluted Rube Goldberg bullshit explanations to try and deny something we all saw in 4K and wish we didn't. It was an exploding mic.
He had a rigged microphone.
And they timed it precisely to the millisecond with the fake gunshot from the patsy.
The shaped charge was actually supposed to hit him in the chest.
Again, he's a giant gas hole. Candace Owens in those episodes was describing John Bray's work and explaining the theory to people and how it would work. And she did some research on patent explosives, and she talks about how she thinks it might work. Nothing conclusive was ever said. The Rode microphone is attached to Charlie upside down, and TPUSA has never released the audio. And Spencer Pratt, who wants to be a leader, he's a big man leader, he won't demand they release the audio. He'll let him cover that up. He's not man enough to say, TPUSA, let's have that upside-down inverted Rode mic audio from Charlie's last performance. Let's hear that. Never gonna happen.
There were Jews hiding under the grass.
No one ever said that. But we did say that Celebrite, which hires the Mossad, holds all the evidence for Tyler Robinson, the digital evidence, and many of our federal agencies, and we have a real problem with that. Spencer Pratt doesn't, because he's a cuck bitch and not really an American. He's a bootlicker.
It was French Special Forces.
And you know what's really odd? Somehow, this French man, Pierre, he knew that Charlie was dead before the rest of the world did. How did he know that? How did he know before I knew? Especially because he wasn't yet a donor to Turning Point USA. Why was he given so much priority? Frenchman. Frenchman. Frenchman.
Oh, we call for you, Candace. We are sent by Pierre. You will not talk about Brigitte's wiener.
I'm interested. I know that after Charlie died, that deal went through. Yeah. I mean, if I'm lying, this would definitely fall within the category of defamation. So, yeah, I'm all in on this one. I'm guessing, by the way, regarding this, Pierre, this might be the reason that the White House never got back to me regarding the French Foreign Legion being involved with Charlie's assassination.
I will not warn you a second time.
It was French Special Forces.
I don't know. I think Candace's version hits kind of different.
Just the craziest, most unhinged shit imaginable. And people believe it. Anything but what actually happened.
But what actually happened? Innocent till proven guilty, anyone? There hasn't been a trial yet. But he knows what happened. And this is the problem with these people. They're Tyler Robinson only. It's got to be Tyler Robinson alone. Tyler Robinson only. They have a narrative. They wanted an election where they attacked the left for murdering Charlie. And they wanted to ride on that energy for decades. And their case sucked. They messed it up. And they gotta blame everyone else.
Anything but the most obvious, straightforward explanation. The woke communists you saw on camera who have prints on the rifle killed an anti-communist leader because communists are violent lunatics. That's it. We have a communist violence problem.
The gas hole strikes again. There is no evidence that Tyler Robinson was any kind of communist. I don't even think he had a Che Guevara t-shirt. In fact, the testimony is Tyler Robinson wasn't that political. It kind of ruined their narrative. So far, that's the evidence.
But psychos on the internet have made an entire cottage industry around denying and exploiting it.
We're not morons.
But what's so much worse than these crazy conspiracies is how it drives people to abandon their basic human decency.
Yeah, like trying to ride a wave of grief and sympathy and surfing it into one election win after another because you abandoned all the other issues and also betrayed the guy who was assassinated.
It goes from just asking questions to demonizing a grieving widow, celebrating her husband's violent death.
I am Spencer Pratt. I am the great gasholio. Candace Owens didn't attack Erica Kirk for like 3 months. I don't think it was until December when Erica lied about Charlie not getting death threats on Glenn Beck. Erica lies a lot. And finally, Candace said she was lying. Candace also never celebrated Charlie's death. That's a lie. Spencer Pratt knows this, but he's a bootlicker, and he's lying to you. And he thinks you're stupid. Don't be stupid.
It's so much worse than just absolving the actual murderer and trying to sabotage the trial.
If little theories explored by podcasters can either absolve a murderer or sabotage a trial, it's 100% proof that case was garbage. You don't want to have a garbage investigation for Charlie Kirk, do you? This is for Charlie, right? When people say this stuff, they're full of crap.
These people have a bloodlust. What have you become when you celebrate an assassination like this? I don't care what your politics are. This was a father, a loving husband.
Aside from some of the COVID stuff, this is the most true part of his video. It was gross people celebrated the death of Charlie. And it was mostly leftists. And it was sad.
You know, I was in DC in an interagency meeting when that communist shot Charlie.
There is no evidence he was communist.
I was there advocating for the Palisades, trying to get things done to help us rebuild when everyone's phones started buzzing. Now, I never knew Charlie, but some of the president's cabinet members were with us, agency heads, people who were friends with Charlie and had worked with him for years, and they were devastated.
Yeah, Spencer was up there with people like Laura Loomer, who were tweeting all the time that Charlie should be ruined, he should run TPUSA. All kinds of people were hating on Charlie because Charlie was up there busting their balls, telling him not to go to war with Iran, at least the Epstein files. Charlie was totally against everything going on, and they couldn't stand Charlie being around busting balls. When Charlie was killed, I'm sure some were sad, but a lot of them couldn't wait to get down to business because now he wasn't in the way. Sorry, that's just what happened.
It was one of the most grotesque and shocking moments I've ever seen in American history, but the reactions that followed were far more grotesque and reveal a sad report on where we are as a country. Teachers mocking his death, drag queens putting on assassination fashion shows. Who are these demons? What have we allowed ourselves to become? We have been so thoroughly demoralized, I fear that we can't get any lower. These things have fried our brains. Politicians have become full-time influencers and utter clowns.
The do-nothing reality TV brat says this with no irony.
Gesture gooning instead of campaigning. We dress like slobs. We shrug away drug addicts defiling themselves on our streets. We celebrate murders and lawlessness with alacrity. We have no dignity anymore, and I don't know how we get it back.
Well, what we do is we trot out men to act like freak-out hens. You know, like they're throwing a tantrum on The View, and then men freak out, attack a bunch of women, say a bunch of bad words, and call people names, and that's how we regain our dignity, right? Because that's what Spencer Pratt did. Look, the way we regain our dignity is by ignoring neocons like Spencer Pratt and facing the fact they suck at everything. They suck at elections. They suck at wars. They suck at politics. They just suck. And once we face that together, we can start to restore our dignity. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.